On the morning of June 18th, a young man named Ketan Agarwal climbed a centuries-old hill fort near Pune, India, with a woman he was going to marry. Their wedding was 5 months away. By 10:40 that morning, he was dead. Ketan had fallen hundreds of feet from the fort's edge into the gorge below. His fiancée said the wind caught him and he slipped. It was a terrible accident at a place with a steep drop and nothing to hold on to. That was the story his family was given, and it was the story the police first wrote down. Then his family started asking questions, and within 5 days, that accident report was replaced by 2 arrests and a murder charge. This is the case of Ketan Agarwal. So, a while ago, I took a MyHeritage DNA test, fully expecting the results to be pretty straightforward. I'm Korean. I was born in Korea. My parents are Korean. My grandparents are Korean. So, imagine my surprise when my ethnicity results came back looking surprisingly Chinese. And I remember staring at the screen thinking, wait, what? Well, recently I logged back into MyHeritage because they've added some new features, and somehow things got even more interesting. And now they're on promotion right now for only $25. First of all, now I have over 100 DNA matches, which means there are more than 100 people around the world who are genetically related to me in some way. And they are everywhere. The United States, Sweden, Australia, Canada, Taiwan, the UK. So if you're watching this and MyHeritage says we're related, hello, cousin. But the feature I was most excited to try was something called Ancient Origins. Instead of showing where your DNA comes from today, it traces your ancestry thousands of years into the past and compares your DNA to ancient populations. And when I dug deeper, my closest ancient population was actually the Kaya Confederacy of Korea, which was incredibly cool to see. Then MyHeritage showed me a list of notable ancient individuals whose DNA was surprisingly similar to mine. And my top result was Emperor Wu of the Northern Zhou dynasty. So naturally, I've decided that this makes me royalty, and I haven't informed my husband yet, but I expect this information to dramatically improve my quality of life. What I love about this is that it turns a DNA test into a story. You start by asking, where am I from? Then suddenly you're asking, who were my ancestors? Where did they live? And why am I apparently related to an emperor? And right now, MyHeritage has an incredible bundle offer with my code ASIA. You can get a DNA kit for just $25. That includes free shipping and a 30-day free trial and more. So just use my link below, scan the QR code on screen, and enter my code ASIA at checkout. For $25, it's honestly one of the most affordable ways I've seen to explore your family history and more. On the surface, everything seemed wonderful. Ketan was 26 years old, the son of a prominent Pune businessman, and he worked as a director in the family's real estate company, Success Group. But the picture people paint of him is quieter than his wealth suggests. He was steady, close to his parents, the kind of person who was more interested in showing up for his family than chasing media attention. And he genuinely loved trekking. Heading up to Lohagad Fort, that old stone fortress about an hour outside the city, was his idea of a good day. He'd been there before. He'd taken Sia there too. Sia Goyal was his fiancée, 20 years old, the daughter of a well-established spice trader in Pune. Theirs was an arranged engagement, a match set up between the two families, something that remains common in India. The arrangement was made official in February of this year, and by June, everything was pointed toward a lavish destination wedding in November out in the state of Rajasthan. The talk around Pune was that private jets had been chartered for the guests. So when Ketan and Sia set out for Lohagad on the morning of June 18th, nothing about it looked unusual. The next day was Sia's birthday, and Ketan had planned a luxury getaway to celebrate it. According to what investigators later pieced together, The stop at the fort was supposed to be for a pre-wedding photo shoot at a place he loved. Instead, that morning ended with phone calls carrying tragic news and a search party pulling a body from the gorge. Here's what Sia told people that day. Ketan had been near the edge, taking in the view, when strong winds caught him and he slipped. That was the account given to his family, and that was the account given to the police. And on its face, there was nothing suspicious about it. People do fall from Indian hill forts. Many of these sites have no railings or barriers, just weathered old stone overlooking a very long drop. So the police did what they typically do with a fall like this and registered it as an accidental death. The problem was that the story just didn't sit right with Ketan's family. Grief does strange things, but sometimes what it does is push you to ask the questions nobody else thinks to ask. Ketan's sister rejected the accident story from the very beginning, and when Sia came to the family home in the days after the funeral, police sources say it was the sister's questions about that morning and Sia's answers that kept shifting that raised some of the first red flags. Ketan's parents kept turning the account over too, finding pieces that didn't fit. He was an experienced trekker on a trail he knew well, and the entire explanation rested on the word of one person. So the family pushed, and Ketan's father lodged a formal police complaint alleging that his son hadn't fallen at all, that he'd been pushed. It's worth pausing on that because in this case, that pressure is the reason there's an investigation at all. Without it, the events of June 18th might have remained filed away as the results of unfortunate weather and bad luck. The police in Lonavala, the rural jurisdiction that covers the fort, went back to the beginning. And the first thing an investigator does with a story like Sia's is test it against the facts. Toll records, phone data, and cameras. That's where something snagged. CCTV footage from near the base of the fort showed the crowds you'd expect on a June morning, but investigators kept coming back to one figure. A man walking the same route as Ketan and Sia, wearing shorts, a headset, and a heavy hoodie with the hood pulled over his head. Police checked the temperature for that morning, and it was around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Nobody dresses like that in those temperatures. Not unless they're trying to avoid being recognized. Now, investigators had new questions. Who was the man in the hoodie, and why was he following the engaged couple up a mountain? At the same time, the account Sia had given wasn't holding up. Police say her statements kept shifting, and there were details that didn't line up with what the record showed. Once the footage and the phone data came into focus, those inconsistencies stopped looking like confusion caused by trauma and started looking like something else. But the CCTV was only giving the police so much. The hooded man's face was hidden from the cameras, so investigators started comparing the footage to everything they could gather on the people in Sia's world. And according to the police, they found a match. A 22-year-old from Pune named Ketan Chowdhury, a young man who ran a small trading business, a man Ketan's family had never heard of. On June 23rd, just 5 days after the fall, police arrested them both, Ketan and Sia. Police announced publicly that they suspected Ketan's death was not an accident but a murder, and both were charged with murder and criminal conspiracy. A police officer told reporters that under sustained questioning, both had admitted to pushing Ketan from the cliff, though anything said in police custody will have to survive the scrutiny of a court, and both remain legally innocent unless a trial says otherwise. Since then, police sources say the two have reportedly turned on each other, which raises the question the entire country would soon be asking. Who is Ketan Chowdhury, and how is he connected to this couple? According to what investigators and people close to the families have described, the connection goes back years, and it started innocently. Sia's older brother and Ketan both played local cricket. Sia would come to watch her brother's matches. And that's reportedly where she and Ketan first met. They reconnected last year, and somewhere along the way, investigators allege, it became something more. A relationship that neither family knew existed. The phone records show that it was not something small. Between January and June 18th of this year, police say, Sia and Ketan called each other more than 2,000 times, racking up nearly 240 hours of conversation. That's over an hour a day, every day, for the entire duration of Sia's engagement to another man. And then came the detail that changed everything. In July, sources cited by the Times of India and NDTV made a claim that, if verified, changes the shape of this whole case. That Sia and Ketan didn't just have a hidden relationship, they had a hidden marriage. According to those sources, the two legally registered a marriage roughly 4 months before Ketan died, which would place it just after Sia's engagement to Ketan in February. Police have not officially confirmed this. Investigators say they are examining documents and even looking into whether money changed hands to allow them to skip the mandatory public notice period that Indian law requires before a civil marriage. That's the very step designed to make sure marriages can't happen in secret. If the accusation is true, that means the two families spent this spring planning a November wedding, venues, jets, guest lists, and underneath all of it, the bride was already married to someone else. According to investigators, the pressure resulting from that secret was building because Ketan's family had recently asked Sia for her personal documents to finalize arrangements for the destination wedding. Paperwork has a way of surfacing other paperwork, which brings us to the question at the center of this case. Why not just call off the engagement? Her own brother, who police questioned for nearly 10 hours, reportedly told investigators that if Sia had said she didn't want to marry Ketan, the family would have stopped the wedding. Ketan's father said the same thing publicly, almost word for word. If she didn't want him, she could have simply refused. According to investigators, Sia told them during questioning that she didn't want to marry Ketan, but believed that canceling it would disgrace her family. And according to sources cited in Indian media, there was a second issue. Ketan had reportedly asked her to wait roughly 3 years while he built his career. Then they could marry openly. And so she was in a bind. She couldn't refuse Ketan without scandal, and she couldn't yet claim Ketan. Ketan's death solved both problems at once. A grieving fiancé wouldn't be pushed toward another match for years. It would buy time. That is the theory built from interrogations and recovered data. No court has ruled on it. But it is the theory prosecutors are now building their case around. Except that's not all. According to investigators, that morning wasn't the first attempt on Ketan's life. It was just the one that finally worked. Police traced the beginning of this plan to May 31st and a visit Sia made to Lohagad with Ketan. After following the digital trail, investigators believe the fort had not been chosen on impulse. Sia and Ketan had allegedly researched methods online, on Google and YouTube, searching for ways to kill someone, and pushing that person from a height emerged as the simplest method. Police also say that Sia's phones showed she had read up on another case, one that made national headlines in India last year, in which a businessman named Raja Raghuvanshi was found dead in a gorge during his honeymoon. His wife was accused of conspiring with an alleged lover to kill him. Investigators believe Sia had studied that case before heading out to the hill fort and had searched online for whether women are beaten in police custody. From there, investigators have described at least 3 failed attempts to kill Ketan before the one that succeeded. In one of them, at the fort, Ketan was pushed and survived only because he caught hold of something at the very edge, a tree in most accounts. When he asked Sia what had happened, she allegedly told him she had shoved him out of the way of a snake. Ketan told his family that Sia had saved his life. In the days before he died, he was thanking the person who was now accused of conspiring to kill him. Another opportunity, police say, collapsed for a reason nobody planned. Ketan's mother, still shaken by that earlier fort visit, objected to him going back to Lohagad at all. Without knowing it, she bought her son a few more days. Investigators also point to another incident. Ketan and Sia had a trip to Bali planned for early June, a pre-wedding shoot abroad, and police allege Sia hid and later destroyed his passport, so the trip couldn't happen. She was keeping him in the country and keeping the plan on track. According to Ketan's family, Sia claimed the document had simply been misplaced. Officers say they've since searched and formally recorded the spot where they believe that passport was destroyed. Then there is the matter of what exactly happened on June 18th. Police have reconstructed the morning almost minute by minute. At around 8:41 a.m., Ketan's car crossed a toll plaza on the expressway out of Pune. The two climbed the fort, Sia slightly behind Ketan. Ketan, police allege, followed them at a distance. And investigators say that Ketan went to great lengths to cover his tracks. He had switched off his mobile data that morning, left his phone behind at his shop, and told his workers to answer his calls, so that anyone checking later would believe he'd never left. By about 10:15 a.m., all three were at the top. Investigators say Sia called Ketan shortly before the fall, the call they believe was the final coordination, and that the two had agreed on a signal in advance. Then, police allege, while Ketan stood at a viewpoint looking out at the hills, he was pushed from behind into the gorge. Sia then called out to nearby trekkers for help. At 10:40 a.m., Sia's mother called Ketan's to break the news. To test all of this, police later brought both accused back to Lohagad and reenacted the alleged push using a dummy that matched Ketan's weight. Police also say the two didn't just plan it, they practiced it, rehearsed the push at an open ground in Pune before the day itself. Investigators have said they plan to run a gait analysis on Ketan as well, comparing the walk of the hooded figure on camera to his own, to pin down the identification. Ketan's lawyer, for his part, has pushed back hard, calling the police's case an investigation without any solid basis, arguing the CCTV footage proves nothing, and pointing out that every phone and device had already been seized. What police say happened after the fall is appalling. On June 19th, the day after Ketan died, Sia visited his grieving family and told his father to stay strong and that Ketan was watching over them from above. For the 5 days between the deaths and the arrests, police say, she and Ketan simply carried on with their routines. Forensic teams later recovered deleted messages between them, written, prosecutors told the court, in code, nicknames, and emojis whose meaning only the accused can explain. That examination is now finished, and the report is in, and it produced one more thread investigators are still pulling on. A second phone, one police say Sia had concealed, now recovered, and in one recovered Snapchat exchange with a friend, sent while wedding logistics were still officially underway, Sia allegedly asked to borrow her friend's ID to book flights for what she called a wedding that was never going to happen. Sia's public persona told a different story the entire time. Through the spring, Sia's Instagram was full of engagement, photos from the engagement party, an anniversary post about her heart finding its home, a birthday video of Ketan surprising her with flowers. After his death, she posted statements communicating her grief. "Left me on my birthday," one post read. Another asked why he had abandoned her when she loved him so much. Whether any of that was real is not something an outsider can determine. It simply sits there, side by side with everything investigators say was happening at the same time. Sia's parents made a rare public statement. They expressed their grief over Ketan's death, and her mother went further than anyone expected. If her daughter is found guilty, she said, then she should be thrown from the same place Ketan was thrown. Ketan's father has taken action. He met with the head of the state government and demanded the death penalty. Within days, the state agreed to fast-track the case, and Ujwal Nikam has been appointed as special public prosecutor. This is no small thing. He's one of India's most famous trial lawyers, and he led the prosecution in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks case. In court, the early rounds have already been fought. The police asked for the two accused to take polygraph tests, which they both declined. Prosecutors asked for more time to interrogate the pair about the coded chats they had, but the court said no. Sia and Ketan are both in judicial custody. Investigators are still working, still questioning witnesses, including a former classmate of Ketan's, who, according to police, was told about the plan beforehand, advised against it, and refused an invitation to come to the fort that day. That is where the case stands. No charge sheet has been made public, no trial has begun yet. The secret marriage remains a claim that investigators are trying to verify. The motive remains a police theory. The reported confessions, if they hold, will be contested by defense lawyers who are already contesting everything else. Under the law, Sia and Ketan are accused, not guilty, and it will be a courtroom, not the media, that will deliver the final verdict. But here's the part I can't stop thinking about. In the days before he died, Ketan Agarwal stood at the edge of a cliff, caught himself on a tree, and turned around to face the person beside him. And in that moment, according to everything investigators now allege, he was looking directly at the person who had tried to murder him. What he saw instead was someone who had saved his life. He believed it, he believed her, right up until the end. That is all for today. Thank you for watching. If you've ever been curious about your family history, check out MyHeritage using my link below or the QR code on screen. Use my code ASIA to get the DNA kit for just $25, plus free shipping, a 30-day free trial, and more.